we have a double problem. The first one is a kind of a process of delegitimization of Israel, of the very existence of Israel, which is a real problem. And the second one is that Israel does not really understand the necessity of combating this process. It's a real threat. It's a threat on the existence of Israel. And when you check how much Israel invest in combating this process of delegitimization, it's almost nothing. And the real threat on the existence of Israel is coming from the field of delegitimization. And the point is that we can do much more. Israel can do much more because Israel has wonderful arguments which unfortunately are completely not spoken out. And this is the main problem. I mean, when you check in every aspect, when you're checking it in genocide, how many people Israel killed, and when you check it about refugees, and when you check it about war crimes, you find out that almost all the arguments against Israel are complete. It's totally lie. And I call it the industry of lies, which is working out against Israel. And we should refute it. It's possible to refute it, and we should, but we don't give any effort to the struggle against the industry of lies. Well, I think Israel should consider it just as they consider the threat from the Hezbollah, from the Hamas, or from Iran. It means that Israel should establish a kind of, maybe I'll put it in and say a kind of a special commando unit. We really need something to do because the industry of lies is prevailing in more and more universities in the West, in the media in the West. And the lies that are disseminated against Israel are not refuted many times.
Disseminated from where?
From the media and from the academia. So many publications, so many books, so many articles with the lies of Israel is committing war crimes. Come on, war crimes, what are you talking about? If you check what, for example, NATO did in Yugoslavia just 10 years ago, or what NATO is doing in these very days in Afghanistan, and you compare it to Israel, you see that actually they are lying. And if you're talking about refugees, I mean, there are 38 million of refugees that had to experience the population exchange in so many places. Nobody received the right of return. How comes that only the Palestinians are excluded? And how comes that it's only Israel which is singled out? And you hear again and again the argument about the right of return. I mean, it's industry of lies. There is not any other definition to what they are doing to Israel.
What could be done differently? What could you imagine as a solution?
To say the truth, because the facts are on our side, on the Israeli side. I mean, no doubt. I'm giving a lot of lectures all around. I mean, in universities, in a lot of other places, and people are shocked about the facts when I'm representing my comparative studies about genocide, about refugees, about war crimes. People are astonished and they are telling me many times, how come we don't know it? How come people, even if they are, not really against Israel, but they don't know the basic facts about the conflict in a kind of a comparative point of view? People just don't know because Israel is always singled out. It's all the arguments are always against Israel, which is a real problem.
So, who could come up with a solution? The government?
There is no other way, because I don't think that any private organization of something of that kind that can do the real work. It should be a kind of combination maybe between government and some NGOs all together. But it's a real combat. I don't want to give the practical solutions because I think it should be something very professional because we are dealing with a real problem, with a real threat on the very existence of Israel. So it should be dealt in a very professional way. It has not been done till now. And we are in a real problem because, I have to repeat it, it's industry. It's a huge industry with a lot of money, mainly oil money or whatever. And people are recruited to that struggle against the very existence of Israel. NGOs, universities, institutions, research institutions, journalists, and I have endless of examples how it's built, stage by stage. All this industry of lies, which, I mean, we see the outcome. According to global polls, Israel is the main threat to the peace world. And just like the Jews before, just 60 years ago, were the threat to the world. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's repeating itself. Just the very same way that Jews were demonized, now Israel is demonized, and it's in a way it's very frightening.
What's the role of the Palestinian Authority and Hamas in manufacturing lies?
Of course, they have a great contribution to this industry of lies because, from one hand, at least the PA, Palestinian Authority, they are negotiating with Israel. It's from one hand, but from the other hand, they are doing the opposite. And everywhere they can do it, they are contributing to the industry of lies with complaints, with misinformation, with propaganda, with demonization. You know what? Sometimes they have good arguments. If they're talking about settlements and roads, and they have sometimes. We cannot negate whatever they are saying. But generally speaking, in 95%, they are dealing in a demonization of Israel, and they are part of the industry of lies.
But how about the exaggeration of Palestinian casualties, or even more, the staging, the setting up? Do you believe that Hamas...
Yeah, of course. It's called, I think Professor Richard Landes called it Hollywood, for example. But we have endless examples of how they are staging a lot of things, from Muhammad al-Dora, the very known affair, to a lot of others. I mean, they are always staging, and we are always falling in the trap that they are preparing to us because of misinformation, because of a lot of other reasons, but we are not really combating it. And this is the main point, and Israel should understand, and I have to repeat it again and again, Israel should combat it because it's a real threat to the very existence of Israel, much more than the threat of the Hamas and the rockets.
How is it a threat to Israel? How do these lies affect Israel?
Because the meaning is that Israel will be just like South Africa, and this is, by the way, this is the main goal, that Israel should be the new South Africa, and they are working on it, and they have stage by stage. I mean, we don't see it because it's a stage by stage, but we can see it in a lot of global polls. To demonize Israel, to delegitimize the very existence of Israel. And it's done, and it's worked out, and we should face it, and we are not doing it.
What is the legitimacy of Israel?
Very simple. The right of the Jews for self-determination. This is the very basic definition. So whoever is negating this very basic right should explain us why the Czechs has the same right, the Finnish and the Palestinians and every other nation in the world. A very basic right. Why do you say that Israel does not have this kind of right for self-determination?
But isn't the problem that there's this myth that the Jews stole the Palestinians' land to build the state of Israel?
I can give you something like 50 examples of other peoples that stole the land of another people. But as much as we all know history, there had never been a Palestinian state here. So I'm not saying that Palestinians did not suffer out of the foundation of Israel. It's not what I'm arguing. Yes, they suffered, but it was supposed to be a very limited suffer. They increased the suffering. They increased the misery because of their refusal, for example, to the partition resolution. One example, but there are much more examples. But if we are talking about what they call Nakba, come on, 38 million people had to experience the same kind of process of turning themselves, not because of transfers that took place in the world. 38 million. Like Pakistan and India, like Greek and Turkey, like the ethnic Germans from Europe, like Poland and Ukraine, like so many others. Of course, Cyprus and Turkey, which is from 74. So there are so many examples. So you cannot exclude Israel and say Israel is the main source to violence in the world, which is one of the biggest lies against Israel. One example out of many.
But the argument of legitimacy, what's the answer? How would you respond to the notion that the Palestinians were that Israel was established on Palestinian land?
You can say it, that even the United States was established on Indian land, and if you check the history of Europe, there were so many moves of a lot of peoples. So I mean, yes, I'm not saying that they did not suffer, but 90% of their misery is out of their deeds. So it's not because of Israel. So let's put it on the table. They are suffering, but because of themselves. How come that 12 million of ethnic Germans were deported from East Europe countries, from the Sudan, from Poland, from a lot of other places, from Russia even, from Ukraine? I mean, 12 million people. Most of them were not Nazis at all. So why nobody is speaking about them? I mean, they are suffering. They are not actually, because of if they are going to their state, nobody is supposed to say that they are suffering. I mean, it's Arabs that were deported. Yes, I'm saying they were deported to an Arab state. But a bigger number of Jews came to Israel from Arab countries. So why nobody is talking about them? It's finished, actually.